Hello and welcome to Code Cookie of the Week, FreshDesk episode 2. In this week, I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to continue working with the FreshDesk plugin that we started last week. So if you're a bit confused about things in this video, go back and revisit the old video. I'm going to lay the foundation here for some work that I will be doing in coming videos as well, where we have some even more insanely complicated stuff to show you. Enough about that. So we'll start today with looking on how to make our commandlets or our function be more official, and we do that by adding documentation and help text to them. And when we do that, we actually get that inventoried into Zervicepoint. By the way, I'm sending live from my basement here. So if you're wondering about the setting here, this is the guest room in our house. It's painted in a tasteful gray color. And this sofa also turns into a bed in case we need it. Okay. And these help texts, we can make them in a nice way, and we can import them into Zervicepoint, where you can actually access that help info from within Zervicepoint. After that, we're going to clean up some code, and so we're going to use the shared module that we created last time, and create a function there to create the authorization header for all our requests over FreshDesk. Because we do that, we have the same code on 10 different places, and we can't have it like that. It becomes very hard to manage if we need to change anything on it afterwards. And we're going to add some config values to our provider XMLs. So the value I was thinking about is the name of the FreshDesk instance. So that's the first part of the URL that we use when we talk or communicate with FreshDesk. So let's get started. I'm going into the FreshDesk management module that we created last time. Can have it like that perhaps. And we have all our internal functions here, and this blob of code is something that we do in all our requests to FreshDesk. So I'm going to create a function that does that, so we don't need to have that code in all places. I'm calling it get FD authorization header. And we just need a config here, I think. And we just copy that. Because the only in parameter we need is the config. And we don't need the URL here either. So if I just run this, I need to have a config. I'm just going to import that. And I have mine in a different location that you have yours, as I've explained in previous videos. Provisioning system. Provisioning. Let's go with that one. Whoops, we need to specify the path. There you go. And let's try it. FD authorization. Get FD authorization header config. And it doesn't return the header. Okay, so of course we need to return the header as well. And in PowerShell you can write return, but that doesn't really do anything. Just makes it easier for people from other languages to understand. I'm going to remove it because we don't need it. And there we have a return. So now we can go ahead and use this. And what we do is we just start by using it in here. And I can just copy this. And I put it into the FD headers variable, which will be used in the invoke rest method commandlet afterwards. So if I were to test this whole one, and in PowerShell I can highlight it and press F8 to just read it, and then the commandlet will exist in the memory. I don't know if I have an agent ID actually. We can try number 1. Not found, okay. And this is something we can improve later as well. We can have some error handling here. Now it just throws a 404, which I guess is okay, but we could make it even nicer and more compatible with Zervicepoint. But remember, these are internal functions in our FD management module. So these are not directly exposed to Zervicepoint. And the philosophy I have about error handling is that we should capture the error from as close to the source as possible where the call was made. Not if the call for this commandlet or this function was done in level 1 and it fails in level 3, it should throw back up to level 1, and we can write a user-friendly error message out there. So I think this is okay actually. We don't need any more error handling here. Okay, so we have a bunch of work to do, but luckily we can just copy paste most of it. And that was all for this one, but we have also the activities somewhere. Yeah, here. So we can replace all this code with this. I can make it a little tighter. I'm gonna go this and this. And that's okay. Then we have our drop downs of web services. We can just start with the web service, and the drop downs I will save for later. Now I want to add some help text. And a help text, if we take a sneaky little look on the Active Directory module. Okay, I didn't have the correct file. Let's have this one. This is the help text block. And we can just copy that and paste it over to our activity module and update all the parameter names and help texts. But we can as well create our own snippet in the PowerShell ESE. And I have a little code example here. So I put my help text snippet in the snippet variable, and then I can specify the author and the description and the title of the snippet. And once I run this new ISE snippet, and I used splatting here. Splatting is basically I take a hash, and these are parameter names on this commandlet. So this row, where I've specified this variable with an @ instead of a $, is the same as doing this. So it's called splatting in PowerShell. Well, if I run this, I can hit Control J and I get the little snippet drop down. And the title of my snippet was ZP or CP help text. So I'm going to write ZP. And there I have my help text, and I can hit enter and it puts it in there for me. So if you write a lot of help text or a lot of activities, you might have all different kinds of snippets that you could use. One of us in our box actually have snippets for activities and drop downs and stuff that we should perhaps put on the help page on our docs page. So if I were to document anything here, I could just go into, let's see, where are we? Activity FreshDesk. And I started out and I did this first activity here. So I write a synopsis, which is a brief summary of what the commandlet or the activity does, and a description, which is supposed to be a little longer. And then we have all the parameters, descriptions of them. I don't really need to write must be an int in this case, because when we inventory this into Zervicepoint, and I have specified types in the param block, it will also say decimal in Zervicepoint. So if I were to just hit Control J here, ZP, enter. Okay, I need to fix that tab. And we can look, and we can just write something that hopefully helps people. This activity sets, what does it do actually? Different properties on a FreshDesk ticket, and so on. I'm not gonna have you force you to watch me write help text, because I don't think that's not very helpful, I think. I'm just gonna save here, and I can show you how it looks in Zervicepoint. So if the one that I've already written was new FD ticket. So if I hover here, we get the description. And if I click here, I can hover here as well, but it will only tell me the module and the activity name. And I can hover on each parameter as well. And I think that's it looks good, and it can be very helpful sometimes, especially if you are a lot of people developing, or if you're developing for someone to come and take over for you afterwards. And I think you always should do that, so you should really embrace that. Okay. So we had some more stuff we were going to do. Yeah. Okay. So if we look in here, from the last video, my tenant at FreshDesk was named info help, but then I only had that tenant for 21 days, and then I had to pay to get it continue the subscription. So I just registered a new one, and then I got a new FreshDesk instance, so the name changed. And of course, if we have this kind of variable in our module, we should put it in the config file instead. Just the same that we did with the API key as well. So I'm gonna do it like this. Just have a quick look in there. Yep. So what should we call it? Instance name. Instance tenant name. Let's go with that. Just see if it. Okay, we don't have a tenant name, of course, in config. So we need to open all the config files. You have two, one for activities and one for web services and dropdown. I have more. I have like 3, so I need, because this is a dev environment, so I need to go into all of them for this to work. Check out earlier videos if you don't remember where you have your provider XMLs. Provisioning system inventory, here we have one, FreshDesk, and if we go to client web service, we have another one, FreshDesk, and there. So what did we call it? Tenant name. There. Saving. 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 And I'm gonna check my config. I just run the same row again to get the config, and now I have a tenant name. So if I mark this line and hit F8, I can see that it handles my strings here correctly. Nice. So we need to update all the places where we have URI specified. Oh, here we have another one there where we need to update the header. And actually, we should probably place this row in our FD management module as well, but we'll do that later. Okay, if I go into web service, need to fix it here as well. Okay, because PowerShell handles strings differently depending if you have quotation sign or single quotation sign. And I used single quotation sign here because I have where I thought we would be needing some special characters in the URL. For instance, if you're going to use this character, I don't even know the name of that character, but I hope you get the idea. Okay, here we have another reference. I realize this isn't perhaps very fun to look at, but we need to get through it. And that's it, actually. All right, so I will continue cleaning up this, and in the next video, we'll have a look at some how to work with translations in our new plugin, and I hope we'll look at how to do some really cool reusable drop-downs as well, where you can have basically all the code for a drop-down in a shared module, and then you can have multiple drop-downs with config files that use the same code but with slightly different parameters. So thanks for watching this time, and be back in the next episode of the Code Cookie, back in my basement probably. Have a nice week, or have a nice couple of weeks, and hope to see you soon.